Hi everyone! Today I'm here with my TBR Readathon Wrap Up. The TBR Readathon took place from the 13th of May to the 8th of July, so it was a 2-month-long readathon. A few people decided to participate, which I was really happy with. Thank you very much to all of you who participated in it. I really appreciate it. The main goal was to read books, physical books from your TBR, and from a physical TBR, I've completed 5 books, even though one of my challenges was to read 12 books. That didn't happen, but I read in general, I think 8 books within those 2 months for this readathon. 2 of them were audiobooks and one of them was an ebook, so they weren't really on my TBR, but I think I can kind of include them anyways. But let's get through the challenges and what books I've read for them. Officially from my physical TBR, like I said, I've completed 5 books, so completed 5 different challenges. I'm not going to go them in any particular order, I'm just going to tell you the books that I'm in the order that they're now in the pile. To read a book that is out of your comfort zone, and I read Pushkin's poems for that, a tiny little book. I can't rate it on Goodreads, it isn't on Goodreads, but if I could, I would give it 3 stars. He is a great poet and he uses the language in a really beautiful way, so I did enjoy reading those books. I got the meaning out of them as I couldn't when I was a teenager, like I said in my vlog, I think. But yeah, so this one is out of my TBR. The next challenge I completed was to read a short book, and for that I read The Girl of Ink and Stars by Kieran Millwood Hargrave. Unfortunately, I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. I only gave it 2.5 stars. For a short book, it was kind of like boring. There were a few aspects that I didn't particularly like. Sometimes I was just a bit confused of what was going on. But this book is set on an island. It feels like in a bit of a different world it is a bit different from our own world. But it is basically about this girl whose best friend disappeared, and now she's trying to find her on this island. It is kind of a fantasy book, I think, in a way. Unfortunately, like I said, I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought, but at least it is out of my TBR. Another challenge I completed was to read a book that you're excited about, and that was The Muse by Jessie Burton. That was my second book that I read by her. Not sure if I ever will be reading more books by her. I think they're not quite for me. But this one, I gave it 3 stars. It is basically, there are 2 storylines. The first one is set in 1936, and I can't remember, I think it's Italy or something. The other storyline is set in 1967. And this book follows our main character who gets a place in an art gallery in London, and then they come across a masterpiece that no one knows anything about apart from one person, and that person doesn't really want to reveal anything about it. So it's kind of like a mystery plus historical fiction novel. I enjoyed it, but at some point, probably halfway through, I just kind of got bored of it or got tired of it, so I needed a break from it, and I started reading completely different books. And then in the end, I came back to it. My enjoyment kind of died after that, so that's why I gave it 3 stars, but I'm glad that it is out of my TBR. It is quite a big book though, so that's really good that I managed to finish it. Another challenge that I completed was to read a book from a series you're in the middle of, and that was Percy Jackson and the Battle of the Labyrinth by Rick Riordan, the 4th book from the series. I only have 1 book left to read and I will finish the series. I am glad that I made progress in the series, because the last time I read Percy Jackson book was last year in September, so it's been quite a long time, so I'm hoping to read the 5th one quite soon. I enjoyed it. I gave this book 4 stars. It was, as usual, enjoyable. I quite like Percy Jackson's books. They're so much fun and funny, so kind of light read. That's what I like. I've got 1 more physical book from my TBR, but I'm going to leave it till the end because it is a Fairyloot book. So I'm not sure if people have received their boxes or whatever. I don't know that. But just in case, I'm going to leave it till the end. So if you want to know what it is, you can stick to the end. But now I'm just going to mention to you the other books that I read during those 2 months. So I've also completed 2 audiobooks. The first one was Daughter of the Pirate King, and the other one was Daughter of the Siren Queen, both by Trisha Levenseller. I listened to them both on audiobook. They can't really go towards any of the challenges, although the second book could go for a challenge to read a book with a beautiful cover, although it wasn't, like I said, on my TBR, so I can't really count it. That's just my rule personally. So yeah, the first book was really enjoyable. It's like a pirate, light-hearted, fun read. I really enjoyed it. What can you expect? It's sort of like a fantasy in a way as well. Not really, but kind of. They're fantasy creatures, let's just say. I enjoyed the first book. I gave it 4 stars, but the second book I enjoyed it so much more. I gave it 5 stars. Every time I stopped reading, I stopped listening to it, I wanted to come back to it immediately, and still from time to time I think about it now and I kind of want to reread them. So maybe one day I'll just buy physical copies of them and potentially reread them one day. Another book that I read was Matilda by Roald Dahl. I read it in Russian because I had it on my e-reader for quite a while. It was enjoyable. It was about this girl who is kind of a unique girl, a very smart girl, but her parents don't believe that, and so she's doing loads of different things to kind of teach them a lesson or whatever. So I gave this 3 stars. There were quite a few things that I didn't actually like about it. In some bits it wasn't realistic, and the translation that I had at least had too kind of a lot of kind of rude words or something, so I didn't quite like it. I think I'll probably go more into detail in my July wrap up. But anyways, I give it 3 stars. And before I go to my last book, I also was still reading 2 other books that were on my TBR, physical TBR, but I haven't made a lot of progress in them. The first one was City of Glass by Cassandra Clare. I'm still on page 194. I haven't even touched it since recently, which is a shame, but I think I'm in a reading slump and it's a huge book, so I'm not in the mood to read it at all. I'm not even halfway through, unfortunately. One day I'll come back to it, but at the moment it's just the size of it is intimidating, so I don't fancy reading that. And the other one is The Amazing Race and His Educated Rodents by Terry Pratchett. I am still on page 120, so I did make a little bit of progress, but not too far into it. So if I tried hard, I could have finished these 2 as well, but that's not going to happen for the next several weeks or so. And the very last book that I finished, like I said, is a Fairyloot book. This was for the challenge to read a book that you got recently. And the book is Grace and Fury by Tracy Bunghat Hart. I think I started reading it on the very first day that I got my box because it was my first ever Fairyloot and I was really excited about it. It is quite short, it's 300 pages, but it did take me quite a while, although I was reading it mostly during my holiday and I didn't have a lot of time. But this book is basically, how do I even describe it? I'll just read you what it is about from here. In a world where women have no rights, sisters Serena and Nomi face very different fates. One in the palace, the other on an island prison, where women must fight to survive. Serena has spent her whole life preparing to become a Grace, selected to stand by the heir to the throne as a shining example of the perfect woman. But her headstrong and rebellious younger sister has a dangerous secret, and one wrong move could cost both sisters everything. Can Serena fight, and will Nomi win? I did enjoy it, but I gave this 3 stars, so it wasn't as good, but yeah. I will go more into detail in my July wrap up, but I think I'm gonna make a separate review for this one. I've got so many reviews to film recently. But yeah, so I kind of completed half of the challenges and I read almost half of the books that I was supposed to, so I'm not too disappointed. I mean, I could have done better, but I couldn't, and now I think I'm kind of in a reading slump, so that's fun. Please tell me in the comments, as usual, if you participated in this readathon, if you enjoyed it, if you want me to do it again at the end of the year, which I think I might do for a month though. And yeah, so tell me which books you finished, what was your favorite book, and anything you want, just share it in the comments. I always like that. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye.